Yeah, thank you for attending the presentation. I'm happy to answer any question.
I have a question maybe close to your report, your presentation, but you mentioned Tesla, and the presentation of Tesla is similar to the presentation of another car manufacturer. But a number of electric vehicles would be much less, maybe 100 or 1,000 less than, for example, for Ford. So the presentation of Tesla is crazy.
Yes.
Maybe you have some opinion, some suggestions to the presentation. Why?
I don't know why this different of utilization. I believe like electric vehicles right now are at the earliest stage like very similar like cell phones at the very beginning. So if you remember Nokia, so BlackBerry. So you have the device, and the companies were in charge of providing the software, which is in the Nokia or BlackBerry at the very beginning. Now a cell phone is just a machine, and then we can put a software in there. Now, what I see with electric vehicles is something similar. Probably we move something very similar what happened with cell phones. Like probably in the future, we will have third parties that can access to install software, because an electric vehicle is a big computer with a lot of sensors and some electrical motors and batteries. But one of the important things is all the software. So I think we will see many changes, not only Tesla but also in other companies, that they may have options to allow third parties to have some software related with the management of the battery, to the self-driving. So I don't know how will be the future, but this is kind of and probably Tesla, another company, other electric vehicle will be in somehow compatible in the sense of providing services to the grid, to do a smart charging. So now everyone is running in a different path in the company. Tesla is getting some market share. Ford is getting on the market share. So everyone, the Chinese companies also, there are plenty of electric vehicles from Chinese companies. So I don't know what will be the future, but probably it will be something very similar of what happened with our cell phones. That you now have Android, and there are a lot of third parties that can provide services to enhance the cell phone that you have, not just to call and to play Snake or to play some games. I don't know if this is in the direction of your question or not, more or less.
More.
Okay.
Maybe a bit later, for the main question will be what you are expecting from us. Thoughts about the input, our usefulness for your project, as we discussed before. But I would like you to remind my initial question that, for example, in game theory, mechanism design, we have the contract theory approach, in which we are not separating information from the contract itself. We initially designed the contract in the way the actors will reveal information by themselves. For example, we may offer the design of the market in the following way, like today done. So in the before market, we can offer the price of electricity to be low for the same electric vehicle. Yeah, so we offer them a contract. You can buy the electricity for tomorrow today, and it will be cheaper. or you can buy it tomorrow. The price will be higher. Exactly the same like balancing and forecasting on the ahead market. And then actors with high demand on electricity, they will buy it today. And in this way, they will reveal the information for us. And there is no need to allocate this, to estimate the price of information, to allocate it, something like that. So again, in our theory, we also use a stage of implementation, incentive contracts, and stage of planning. But then we can show that the same solution we can obtain via one stage game. So we just separate, okay, if you have high capabilities, you will take the contract with higher price, but with a higher demand for you, something like that. And there is no way, no need to exchange of information. Maybe, so this is my very big estimate that there is no need to separate price of information from the price of the commodity itself. We can offer, okay, you can buy commodities today or even for the whole year, and the price will be cheaper. And the only opportunity, the only the new input will be because now the electric vehicles may be treated like prosumers. For example, they will buy energy for the whole year, and then they can sell this energy to be like balancing cards, balancing points, etc. But probably we can somehow try to compare two models. In one model, there will be selling of information and general dispatch. Yeah, for balancing of the market. And another model that we will sell electricity in advance, something like that.
Yeah. This is a kind of this could be very close to the hotel room booking.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like air ticket buying, it's classical models that you can buy tickets immediately prior to the plane depart, or you can buy it in a year.
Yeah, actually, this is we think about this at some moment, but we haven't decided this.
And maybe probably this kind of input we can discuss.
Yeah, that's probably can be a good feedback from you. So my idea is just to throw here questions. All of you are very smart guys. You probably have better ideas than we have. I think this idea of quantifying data has a lot of potential in many other contexts. Just not to buy a lot, but this is kind of a good approach to try to create a business model for this EV charging. Just not only data, but also coming with electricity.
Yeah, and another one question that. Maybe revelation of again, the main idea that it is not in the classical contract theory, that if I will see that the plane will be full on that day, probably I will change my plans. And something like this also may be included in this model, because revelation of information may affect plans of other electric vehicles where I will charge, etc., something like that. And it is not covered by classical theory. Again, in auction theory, we are stating that, okay, everyone knows the state of the world, and revelation of information will not affect our strategies. And this is maybe the serious case for such approach too. That my demand will depend on other demands.
Yes, yeah. Actually, I think this kind of could be a very good approach. We also think about another framework of business model, but we haven't developed, we stopped. which is very close to another the problem. In summary, we want to use this data for decision making. So there is a process that we need to make a decision. Okay, just purchasing energy. So when there is this decision making process, so you can decide how much data we want to purchase for this decision making, and there are in stochastic optimization. So there are a concept which is called endogenous uncertainty or decision-dependent uncertainty. So in summary, so we can this is an example of you go to the hospital and then you probably are ill, and then you can decide if you make different types of tests, a combination of tests. So as you pay for different tests, so you reduce the uncertainty of the output of this, in this case, is a forecast. So we were thinking about this, but it was very complicated to price again the data or the value of this data. So for the decision-making process, it will be very good because we decide what is the optimal level of data that we want. But for there is this problem of that. But I think that it's a better approach, a better framework to think about this continuous market.
Okay, so any other questions?
Let's think about individual personalities. People have costs to calculate together. And when N+1 player get to market, your calculations, efficiency calculations, degrade. And you can say that if you N+1 player go to our market, you must pay us for the degradation.
Yeah, this could be solved in practical aspect if you pay a fee at the entrance, participate in this market.
You pay a fee to participate in our market.
Yes, and then in average at the end of the month, you say that well, this is the amount. So you have still a fee that can save in the case that there are many events with negative prices. Yes. There are allocation rules that allow to create individual rational outputs or allocation rules, but typically what's happened is I think linearity is not satisfying this case.
I just think that individual rationality is not necessarily axiom we should use because think that your data is valuable for me.
Yes.
So probably all the other questions, if everyone except me and Seva don't have any questions, we can stop at this moment, and all the other questions we can discuss all together.